Today, we are going to talk about Boat's recent dig at Apple. So, this is a video every marketer must watch and watch till the end to understand why. 3 days back, Boat started an ad campaign to take a dig at Apple. This is the print ad. Here you can see Boat, Apple, think different, better. Don't be a fanboy, be a boathead. And then they had a series of campaigns where they had hoardings, fanboys settle for less juice, boatheads enjoy 120 hours of better battery boat. And then they had a series of video ads as well. Now, what happened in this controversy? Why did this become a controversy in the first place? Let me tell you. This became a controversy because it was a distasteful ad. It was not done in the right spirit. And it came out as a cringe. It was intended to establish and increase Boat's brand perception. But what happened after this ad was Boat somehow tarnished its brand reputation. Why did this happen? This happened because, first, the comparison was direct, but it was not done in the good taste. It was not done in a good spirit. And when you don't do ads in a good spirit, you mock or don't respect your competitors or bigger giants in the industry. What happens is you don't look like a person, you don't look like a better brand. Instead, you look like a wannabe. You look like, oh, I wish you look like a small player. So, if you don't do comparative ads in the right spirit, you don't use the right words, then you have a lot at stake. Now, let's analyze this ad and see what went wrong and what could have been better, right? So we are here to understand and take notes, right? So let's do that. First, there is so much direct comparison in this ad. First, the big Apple logo and Boat's product, right? There is direct comparison there in the logos. Second, direct comparison in their taglines. Apple's tagline, as we know, is think different. Boat's tagline is think better. Now, don't be a fanboy, be a boathead. Now, why is this not good? Like, why is this cringe-worthy? I'll tell you why. Because with advertising, what our aim as marketers and writers, copywriters is not to tell directly what, not to give the message directly. We don't want to tell our people, we don't want to tell our readers what they should do, but we just want to trigger a certain emotion, right? So what that means is we don't want to tell our readers that don't buy this or this is bad. We don't want to do that. Instead, we want them to think, is this good or is this good? Would you choose this or this? You decide. And we want to show a list of stats or facts that would eventually lead them to choice B, right? So when you're doing comparative ads, comparative advertising is tricky. Okay, it is tricky and it's very important you do it in the right spirit. If you don't use the right words, if you take a jab at your competitor, it can go sideways. So if you do comparative ads right, if you get it right, you have very high chance to improve your brand proposition, to improve your brand value. When you do comparative ads, it's mostly you comparing to established brands or bigger brands or brands in the same width as yours, equal competitors. So you're not taking a dig at slightly brands that are lower or smaller, but you're taking a dig at brands at a similar level or at a brands at a higher level. Now, here what we see is both took a dig at brand Apple, which is a brand that is already established and is at a higher level. But what happened? Why did this didn't go well? Because the comparison they did was not done in a good spirit. They were bad mouthing Apple. So, what's the right way to do comparative advertising? Let me show you some of the comparative ads done in the past. So this is Burger King versus McDonald's. Silly Hooper, that's a Big Mac box. They clearly show Burger King's burger and the Big Mac box. The Whopper isn't able to fit in this box. And this is quite a humorous take on comparative ads. Now, let's see one more. Pepsi versus Coke. Pepsi had this ad. This ad campaign was during Halloween. We wish you a scary Halloween, where Pepsi is dressed up, is wearing Coca-Cola's cape. And then similar ad, just the exact image, Coke's brand replied. Everybody wants to be a hero. So here what you can see is they are not directly insulting any other brand. They are not directly insulting their competitors. Pepsi is not directly telling you Coca-Cola is shit, or Coca-Cola is not directly telling you Pepsi is bad, right? There's a fine line between being direct and being subtle. So comparative ads work when you're subtle, when you're clever and subtle and smart. People appreciate humor, smart, subtle. People don't appreciate direct comparison in a distasteful way. So if you badmouth and you tell that this brand is shit, don't buy. It's bad. All right. It's not a healthy competition. And your followers won't appreciate you. Ultimately, you'll tarnish your brand reputation. So, let's look at another example. This is Audi versus BMW. Audi had a signboard in the parking lot. Your move, BMW, the entirely new Audi A4. That's all. And then BMW replied to Audi, checkmate. Just one word, checkmate. And the new model. Then later, BMW, after BMW's ad, Audi replied to BMW, your pawn is no match for our king. All right. And then after Audi's reply, what more could BMW do, right? BMW attached, 1 minute. BMW attached a rocket balloon on Audi's billboard saying game over and they are F1 car. So ultimately with this, what happened after this ad campaign was that you must have thought that BMW won, right? Because BMW upped Audi. But after this ad campaign, both BMW and Audi got good market, good PR, and both benefited because of this. Now, let's see one more ad where they are directly talking. It's a print ad, a classic print ad of Fiat, where Fiat compares to every other brand out there. It's a very daring, bold ad, and it's done in the right taste. For every Volkswagen sold in Italy, 8 Fiats are sold in Germany. For every Renault sold in Italy, 3 Fiats are sold in France. For every Volvo sold in Italy, 9 Fiats are sold in Sweden. Now, here, why is this? How does this ad compare to both sides? They are even here, they are directly comparing. But what's happening here is they are being very factual. They are not insulting the other brand, right? They are just being factual. Every Volkswagen sold, 8 Fiats are sold. And here, what is happening is Fiat very cleverly is comparing to all the other brands. So this is like one brand is comparing to all the other competitors. Usually in competitive ads, what happens is we compare to a single competitor. But here, Fiat is taking the bold, daring step of comparing with multiple competitors. It's comparing to Volkswagen, it's comparing to Renault, it's comparing to Volvo. All the competitors it's comparing, but at the same time, it's not insulting or bad mouthing anyone. Why? Because the copy, the words used are very factual. They are just stating a fact. They are not telling we are best, we are no, they are just stating a fact. How many cars are sold? How many our cars are sold? Just a logical fact. That's it. So after this, after listening to me and after understanding this, you might be thinking, Danita, what's the right way to do comparative ads? Because comparative ads is a dicey territory. If you don't do it right, your brand's reputation will go. So, what's a better way to do comparative ads? So, these are the best practices of comparative ads. Whenever you do comparative ads, use humor. So, a little humor doesn't hurt anyone. Be like Pepsi, be like Coke, use humor. Be creative, like Burger King. They used a Big Mac box and their Whopper to show the size difference. Be objective and factual, like Fiat. They told for every one Fiat, how many cars are sold, how many Fiats are sold. For every Volkswagen, 8 Fiats are sold. So be objective and factual. Fourth, don't pick on smaller brands. Comparative advertising is done to establish your brand value, brand reputation. If you pick on brands that are smaller than you, what happens is your brand reputation lowers. So don't pick on smaller brands. Pick on brands that are in your equal size, your exact competitors, or brands that are bigger than you. Now, fifth, very important, competitors will exist. For everyone, every industry, we have competitors, and it's a good thing. So, don't be a spoil sport. Don't bad mouth. Don't insult your competitors. Don't insult the competitors. Don't call them names. Don't do all of those cheap, distasteful things. Competitive advertising is good when it's done in a good taste. Let's look at our boat ad and see how could we improve this ad? Because the purpose of this video is not to insult boat or tell that Apple is better or any of those. I'm not getting into it. All right. The purpose of this video is to help marketers and copywriters get better at our craft. Our purpose here is to learn what went wrong and how we can improve it. So let's understand how we can improve the boat's ad. What was wrong there and what could be better? So first, all right, since I had no place and I'm not a designer, with my horrible editing design skills, I have written copy for this ad. What I did was I picked out elements which I didn't like, which were against the brand value. So first, the element where directly they compared different thing, that tagline, I didn't like it, distasteful, I removed that. Second, don't be a fanboy, be a boat head, distasteful again, and didn't give me any real meaning. There was no real purpose there, removed it. Third, big Apple logo and boat logo, not required. You can do comparative ads even without name calling your competitors. So, what I did, my take on boat versus Apple ad. So, first, I kept this headphones image right here. Second, charge your AirPods every 5 hours, charge your AirDops every 7 hours. I said, here itself, the comparison is set. AirPods, we know which brand it is. And even the USP in these two sentences is also set, right? So, AirDops, 7 hours. AirPods, 5 hours. Now, to further reinstill our message, what I did was, most Indians choose quality. Most Indians choose both. Now, first, understand what I did. First, factually, I compared the difference. So, AirPods, you require them to charge every 5 hours. AirDops, you require them to charge every 7 hours. The difference, factually. Second, to instill that Indians choose that, and to instill the brand image and to instill the brand reputation, what I did, most Indians choose quality. Now, choosing both, I established choosing both with Indians making smarter decision. So now I established the link that if you're choosing both, you're making a smart decision. And most Indians make smart decision. So I removed the direct comparison of Apple. First, we compared Apple to both. Now, second, most Indians choose quality. So if you're like most Indians, the bandwagon effect, if you're most Indians prefer quality, right? So the bandwagon effect, if you're an Indian and you choose quality, you will definitely buy both. So we established this. Now, third, the rule of three. Whenever you repeat a statement three times when you repeat, the messages become more intact. The message is well received. So once we repeated boat's value proposition here. Second, we repeated here. Third, we repeated here. Second largest wearable company globally. That's it. Rest, everything I kept saying. Better base, better whatever, better active noise cancellation, whatever they had, I kept that intact. And better battery life, right? I kept all of that intact. I just changed 5 sentences. So when you are doing comparative ads, don't be a bad mouth, right? So here we didn't have to even put any Apple's big logo. We didn't have to do the cheap gimmicky cancel the tagline, and that is very immature. That is junior copywriter thinking, right? Competition is good, and the purpose of this ad is not showing that Apple is lower or Apple don't buy Apple. The purpose of this ad is showing that people prefer both. There is a difference in perception. And great writers, great copywriters, and marketers understand this difference. And that's why Apple didn't reply back to Boat's dig, because Boat is a very small brand compared to Apple. And in comparative advertising, it's done with equal competitors, not lower. Remember. So our takeaway from this is be factual, creative, fun, and be a good sport. And think in the right intent. Because your brand is more important than telling people that others' brand is bad. That's the more important message out there. So, with this, I hope you learned something new. I hope this video was insightful. If you learned anything new, if you learned something insightful, share your thoughts in the comments. And this video shouldn't just end here. I mean, you learned something, right? So make use of that something and type in the comments your take on this ad. I want you to look at Boat versus Apple ad, pause the video and rewrite the ad. Learn from it and I'll reply and give my feedback on it. Until next time, keep writing. Bye-bye.